What is the dumbest thing you have ever done as a teenager? I tied 2x4s to my legs and ropes to my steering wheel, sat with my legs through my sunroof, and tried to drive my car like a stagecoach. It worked, but the car ended up in a ditch. Edit. Obligatory. My highest voted comment is about when I was a damn fool kid and triple gilded. All thanks. I farted while we were spread out sitting on the ground in my gym class. Everyone looked behind towards me and I looked behind me, only to see that I was looking at a wall. One time I walked into class high, sat at my desk, and tried to put on my seatbelt. I snuck out to do teenagerly things at around midnight and got back at around 4 in the morning. I very slowly, agonizingly slowly, took my keys out of my pocket, selected the correct key, inserted it into the front door lock at a speed of 1 tumbler per fortnight, rotated it counterclockwise while palming the rest of the key so as to not let them jingle, and successfully unlocked the door. I removed the key from the lock at the same snail's pace and put my keys back in my right front pocket. I went to reach for the doorknob and rang the doorbell. That was when I died. I saw a bear in the woods and panicked, so I threw food at it. My friends and I used to break into very posh houses and take showers. We didn't steal anything. We just took showers. Not even together. No racy, sexy orgies. Just luxury showers. Edit. Phrasing. Lost my phone. Had a couple D pics on it. Person that found my phone changed my FB profile pic to a D pic. All my friends saw. It was up all day. Guy kept commenting on it. Yee. You like this D ladies? Walked home alone at 3 AM multiple times across a bridge known locally as Stabby Bridge. Edit. I'm not gonna tell you all where it is other than it is definitely in England. Edit. Jesus Christ, it's in Newcastle and not the bridge near Murano in Glasgow. Haha whoosh. Got married at 18. Just don't. Dropped acid and spent the day in the house with my family who did not know I was tripping. They thought I was nervous because I had a job interview the next day. When I went into middle school, I took all my elementary school papers and books and put them in my kitchen garbage bin and soaked it with lighter fluid. After my kitchen garbage bin ignited and had 2-3 foot flames, I started throwing towels on it to kill the fire, then they caught on fire too. I used my sink hose thing to put out the fire. All that remained was a mushy ball of molten plastic. I nearly burnt down my house doing some retarded Viking ascension ceremony. Edit. To answer a few questions, I did it because I saw a big container of lighter fluid and wanted to burn something. At that moment I realized I don't need elementary papers anymore. Because in my 10ish mind I was no longer a kid. Also because fire was awesome. And my parents did found out. I actually 2 separate beatings for it. One for actually doing it, and another for lying about it. I threw away the molten lob after it cooled. I told them later I accidentally threw away the kitchen garbage bin when I was taking out the trash. My foolproof lie failed when they realized the ceiling had burnt marks. Procrastinate and letting countless opportunities slip by me. Edit. Thanks for the gold. And wow. Had no idea this comment would be such a bummer in a thread full of funny anecdotes. As a 13-year-old boy, somewhere in the depths of the security cams archive at a certain department store chain, is me masturbating in the ladies section to a picture of a woman in her underwear. I only noticed the camera after I finished. I took a brick to homecoming. Edit. As a joke because my boyfriend couldn't make it. Shaved my eyebrows off for no reason whatsoever. I got drunk and thought it would be a great idea to shave my whole body for some reason. I'm pretty hairy, so it took all night and then I had to explain it to everyone until it grew back. I don't swim competitively or anything, so I'm still not sure what my rationale was at the time. I owned this camera that had a really bright flash. It was so bright that if you took a picture of someone like a meter and a half away, all you would see is a white outline than the background. I put the flash right up to my eye and took a picture. That I was blind for about a minute and everything that was white appeared orange for the next 30 minutes. Yes, I was a moron when I was 16. Edit. Good to know I'm not the only one who made stupid decisions out of morbid curiosity. Edit 2. Okay. It's frightening how many people have also done this. Edit 3. My highest rated comment is a story of how stupid I was when I was younger. Thanks Reddit. Took 60 plus cough medicine pills at once to get high. Threw up 11 times and broke out into a full body rash. Had a horrible trip and thought I was dying for a few hours. I ate an extremely strong edible 2 hours before playing in the senior versus staff basketball game in front of the entire school. Didn't do too bad, but it was still the highest that I have ever been. I mean, I literally had moments where pretty much all I could see looked like TV static. It was scary, but we ended up winning and I never got in trouble for it. Got crazy wasted at the Pink Floyd laser show at the Hayden Planetarium on a Friday night in Nick, and afterwards fell into the subway tracks as the one train was approaching the station. Thank God that Chris, big, sane friend, was there to jump down, pick me up, throw me onto the platform as I kinda scrambled up, and then jump back up himself. It's remarkable because he was likely as high as I was. I'm told that it wasn't insanely narrow, but there wasn't the largest of windows. Not sure if dumb or awesome, but for my 18th birthday, we went around in 3 cars stealing signs cones from roadworks areas at about 3 AM. Not enough that you'd notice, but 1 or 2 pieces from each setup. Next we went and closed off part of a road, with all the proper signage and markings. It took 3 weeks before people realized no one was showing up at this roadworks area and called the transit authority to find out what was going on. A week later, it was all gone. Dropped out of high school in my final year, literally and figuratively. I jumped out of a window and was expelled. Rode on the hood of a car doing 40 holding onto belt tied to the doors, like in the movie Death Proof. When I was 15 I went to my ex-boyfriend's house. We were in the middle having sex when we heard footsteps coming up the stairs. We knew immediately it was his mom back from work. Well, turns out his mom told him not to have me over. Ran butt naked into his walk-in closet. I was hid behind the door when his mom checked his closet looking for me. Thankfully she didn't see me. After over a half-hour argument in his room, he convinced her to take him to the school to pick up something. Waited 10 minutes after the left, then bolted out the door into a huge storm. As I'm running through the neighborhood, they come back and into full view of me. I quickly slid behind a bush and into an anthill. Thank God she didn't see me. In the end I ran through the storm with a leg covered in ants till my friend picked me up. TLDR. Almost got caught by my ex's mom while we were having sex. End up running through a storm with ants all over my leg. My friends and I threw eggs at a police car. The cops in the car saw us and started chasing us, but our town is surrounded by fields, so we ran and hid deep in the fields until they left. This happened around 11 PM. Good times. Eat 5 purple haze microdots just before first period English class. Had done acid before, but just blotter. Didn't realize just how strong the microdots were. Nice trails as the teacher wrote on the chalkboard. But then, she started to melt. Grabbed my books and noped out of there. Friends later found me wandering around in student parking lot mumbling incoherently. Something about X-Men and Tom and Jerry cartoons. So they said. Tried cow tipping. Ended up getting kicked by a cow and got 2 broken ribs. Edit. Well, since my top comment ever is about me being a dumb teenager, I can share the story. I grew up in Texas. I don't remember how the subject came up, but the general consensus was that you can tip cows cause they're too big. There was that one guy though that swore that him and his cousins go out cow tipping all the time. He was such an ass about it we all went out one night to one of the local pastures just to prove him wrong. We snuck up to one and tried to push it over. It was like trying to move a brick wall. It ended up just getting pissed off and kicked out at us and caught me right in the chest. I ended up in the emergency room with 2 broken ribs. In the end we proved that Lucas was full of it and you can tip cows. I accidentally handed in a school assignment while it was on fire. Got lost by myself at the Miami International Airport. My senior year in high school, starting in about February, I would sneak into my now ex-girlfriend's house every night. We hung out at her house after school and her mom usually invited me to stay for dinner. We'd all chat after dinner, watch a movie, whatever. Her mom and sister would go to bed and I pretended to leave, opening door. saying goodnight, etc. Then we'd go to her room. I would sleuth back into my own house in the morning to shower, change, and get ready for before school orchestra. This happened until a couple weeks before graduation. Apparently I'm not sneaky. My mom found out first and took my car away. Didn't matter much because my so had a car. Then it became a game of her pretending to give me a ride home and us just going out for a bit and coming back. Still not sneaky enough. Her mom came home one day and nonchalantly said, "You know, maybe you should clear one of your drawers for Puff so he can keep some clothes here. That way he doesn't have to go home so early in the morning." So, I officially, partially moved in for the summer. TL. Doctor, I can never be a cat burglar. Couldn't sneak up on one in a million years. Probably around age 13, early 1980s. My dad had surplus reel-to-reel magnetic tapes. Or maybe it was 8 tracks. You know how you can pull it and snap it easy? Cool, huh? Anyway, while waiting for some friends to finish dinner, I took the tape to the soccer field. There was a nice hill beyond the goal posts. I thought it would be great to wrap some of the tape from one goal post to the other, then ride my bike down the hill, bursting through the tape like I won a race. I've never won a race. I did too many rounds of tape, so all those strands of tape just stretched across my chest, didn't break, which suspended me in air like Wile E. Coyote as my bike continued across the field. I landed on my tailbone, in pain, embarrassed and wondering if anyone saw my wonderful failure of a race finish. Gave a random stranger a haircut on the bus to school. Jumped and landed one-footed onto a banana skin to prove that the idea they are Slippy a Duck was made up for cartoons. Nope, they really are Slippy a Duck. Friend and I decided to get some older 18-year-olds to buy us alcohol. Got us a sack of cheap-ass wine, called Goon in Australia. Had a sack each, and I puked non-stop. I was around 15 and had never been drunk before. My friends, in a panic, decided to abandon me and run for their lives. Of course. Few hours later it was dark and some people found me. They called the hospital and I had my stomach pumped. $600 for the ambulance. I had no way of paying this. Foster parents picked me up from the hospital and eventually made me work to pay for the ambulance costs. Regular teenage it. But the stupid part of it was that I knew I shouldn't get drunk. I did it to fit in. Fosters had told me 100 times that if I did it they would drop me off at a local shelter for kids that were too young to be independent but sorta dropped out of the system. Went to that place the next day and was almost left there permanently. If it weren't for the drunk, pregnant 16-year-old who greeted us, I probably would have wound up the same way and in the same place. Fosters took pity on me and let me stay. Thank God. TLDR. Almost risked home future for the sake of getting drunk and fitting in with friends who just abandoned me anyway once I was drowning in my own puke in a park. Start smoking. It's going to kill me. The amount of times I didn't use a condom is quite scary looking back on it. This is a bit more dumb, but still pretty fun, than just flat out dumb. My friends and I used to hold scavenger hunts that involved doing things rather than finding things. We got the idea from Viva La Bam and thought it would be fun. The first time we did it, it was only 4 of us, but we had fun going through the list. Then we started inviting more and more people, and by the last year we did it we had like 30 people playing. The items on the list, which grew to about 175 things, were really stupid. There were eating challenges, like eating a raw onion, half a dozen eggs, chugging milk, eating a dollar bill. Then there were things like going to the store, buying a box of condoms and box of tampons and telling the cashier it's going to be a messy night. Then you had to give away the tampons and make condom balloons. One of my favorite stupid ones to do was hold an argument with a street sign for at least 3 minutes. Bonus points if you made it to 5. We also had simple ones like get a hug from 5 strangers and build a human pyramid, but a majority of them were really dumb. On the weekends we would wait until about 10 PM at night and we would go garage hopping. Drive through nicer neighborhoods looking for anyone at that point who had left their garage open. Take a peek to see if there's an outdoor fridge in the garage, and if so, sneak in to see if there's any beer. The biggest score I ever had was a full unopened case. I thought I was going to be the hero of the party that night. We get back to the house of our waiting friends with our prize and one of them tells me I'm a dumbass. It was Sharp's non-alcoholic beer. I was house sitting for a friend of my parents while they were gone for a week. Friday night came around. Party time. Let my friend drive the house owner's car to go grab some things. He ends up flipping the car in a ditch. I try to cancel the party to deal with that, but around 50-60 people show up anyway. House got trashed. Personal items got stolen and the hot tub got ruined. Oh, and the car was a write-off. Ended up losing my virginity that night, so wasn't all terrible. I was about 13 or 14 and hanging out with a buddy on a hot 90-degree summer day in Washington state. It must have been just after 4th of July because I had some leftover bottle rockets and other assortments of fireworks. We lived next to this big farm field that had some old abandoned buildings tucked in the back corner that we always explored. Anyways, we thought it would be a great idea to take the fireworks over to the insanely dry field and light them off. Now, I did do what I thought was smart and asked my dad first if we could take them over there, and of course he said no. Us being the idiots we were, took them anyways. We ended up lighting some off and I distinctly remember seeing a bottle rocket go up and down, land in the field and pop, but didn't think of anything of it. Fast forward to 30 minutes or so later, back at my house playing video games. My mom rushes into the room and says there is a fire truck putting a fire out in the field we were just at. My heart sank and the feeling of guilt made me confess what we did. It didn't help that my parents knew we were over there, plus the fact I asked my dad if we could bring fireworks over there. It wouldn't have taken that long to put 2 and 2 together. I was grounded for a while, but we never got caught by police, fire department, and the fire never got out of control. By the sounds of it, it barely had a chance to start, thankfully. Looking back on it now, I can't help but think of fast that fire could have easily spread. TLDR. Played with fireworks in the middle of a field on a 90-degree day. Caught the field on fire. Had sex while driving my car. You do damn it when you're 16. Horny. And have a time limit on getting your girlfriend home. I climbed 30-foot tree and jumped feet first into water that I didn't know the depth of and couldn't see the bottom of. It ended up being 6 feet deep. Thankfully it was just enough for me not to get injured. I later became a lifeguard and am now a paramedic. Now I get paid to deal with people as stupid as I was. Told my Vietnam veteran grandfather that him losing his glasses wasn't my ducking problem. It became my problem real quick. Started self-harming. Once you start, it's hard to stop and easy to relapse. My friends and I decided it was a great idea to turn a bicycle upside down. Push the pedals hard to spin the back tire extremely fast and put our bare skin on it to see who could take the most pain in the strangest place. I won by getting tire burn on my nutsack. Definitely drunk driving. Nothing bad happened, but it was absolutely stupid. Don't do it. I called in a bomb threat to the Mall of Georgia and got caught. Went to jail for 7 months. I should do a convicted felon AMA. Haha. 1. Sent multiple texts to different girls saying I wanted to get with them. Later found out they were all friends and were waiting for me as I walked up to a movie theater. 2. Thought I sent a group chat as individual messages to 3 different girls saying good morning beautiful, but ended up sending it as a group message. I was a very dumb high schooler. Friend and I decided it would be a great idea to take his dad's government car out for a spin when I was 16 and on my learner's permit. Parents out for dinner, what could go wrong? Tried being super awesome and doing mad drifts bro. Crashed into a light pole, fence and letterbox. As we started to flee the total car, for some reason I had a rush of sense come into my head and we returned back to the car and waited for the cops who had been called by one of the people who lived there. Ended up getting 1 week community service. Tried to roll a joint with tea leaves and smoke them. TLDR. It's not the same. I didn't sell my ADHD medication. I robbed the city zoo. We were at a house party near the zoo. Friend of a friend states that he worked the little train at the zoo and knew a secret way in. That was foolproof. We of course called bullet. Being sober, I ended up driving his SUV full of about 7 drunk people to this random side street behind the zoo. where he proceeds to show us a spot in the chain link fence that pulled back and allowed you to enter the zoo and some back area used for trash disposal. We walked around for a few minutes until we came upon a Dippin' Dots stand that was unlocked, and we stole gigantic sacks full of delicious ice cream. I was in my dad's car, an Acura Legend, and decided to see what it could do, so I drove at 95 miles per hour down a winding mountain road, 45 mph max speed limit, with a sheer drop off on one side. Riskiest thing I ever did in my life. Heart was pounding. Nerves were firing. I was focused and scared. Stupid. 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 The slightest mistake, and I would have been dead. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I don't know what it will be, but I'm looking forward to it. I joined the Marines when I was 18 in 2001 and decided to go into the infantry because there was no war going on or anything like that and it would be fun to shoot guns and blow stuff up. Flash forward to months later and I was on a CH-53 flying into Afghanistan at night to assault an airfield thinking to myself, damn, my buddies are partying their asses off at college right now. Prefacing this by saying I was delusional at the time. In 7th grade, I tried to convince everyone at school that I wasn't a human but an alien from Venus sent to Earth to fulfill a mission. I also tried to convince a friend that our mutual friend was a zombie and that the people in my head should be treated as real friends at the table. I made them places to sit and made people participate in conversations with them. Ugh, hello, it is I, the master of cringe. Broke into an abandoned mansion in Georgia. Nope, never again. I was 15. Second time drinking. I got to my friend's house. Had 2 glasses of wine. Then 3 cups of Coke and vodka. I was starting my 4th. I got up from my chair. Then I woke up naked in a shower. My first thoughts went in this order: where am I? Why am I naked? Where are my clothes? I had a blanket on and found my underwear in the corner of the room. I walked out to find my friend sitting up on his bed. He said, "Duck you," and I said, "What happened to me?" Apparently I ended up having 6 cups of vodka, 4 glasses of wine and puked about 10 times. So it was a good night. My mom had this nail polish remover that came in a small jar with a sponge that had a hole in the middle, where all you did was stick your finger in it, move it up and down and it would take the nail polish off. I decided to use it to whack off to it. I had never felt so much pain and burning in my life.